What's up, guys? How you guys doing? Hopefully everyone is doing okay and not being recruited to a fucking cult like I was. Well, I almost got recruited into that cult. This all happened at the gym because that's where I'm always at. Speaking of which, I'm at the gym right now, actually. Look at that. I'm at, shoot. Okay, I hope you guys could see that. I'm at the US. And a young fella came up to me. We'll call him Jay, right? Jay comes up to me and says, "Hey man, I like your shoes." And we talked back and forth, and he's talking to me about a job opportunity. And I'm like, "Oh, great. Just in the nick of time, I just graduated school. I'm looking for a job," right? Very desperate for this stuff. So we talk back and forth, and my first red flag that I ignored out of this entire ordeal that could have just prevented everything was him talking about business and entrepreneurship so much. He was just using it like a buzzword, and it just flew right across me because he's talking about his coach, his leader is what they call them, coaches in this whole business thing. They call them coaches. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna let it go and say, and give him the benefit of the doubt that he's very new because he's young, and his coach hasn't really taught him much about business, like actual business. So he's like, okay, cool. We exchanged information then, and he's like, I'm gonna connect you with my coach, my leader. And this coach, this leader is a doctor, and I talked with him. Very likable guy, very charismatic, very firm with his voice, and you know, all of the stuff that would set off alarms if you studied psychology and psychological manipulation and all of that. But we get into that a little bit later. So I get into a call with the doctor, a 3-way call with Jay and the doctor, and we go over Rich Dad, Poor Dad, talking about, have I ever read that stuff? And I was like, yeah, I've read it before. I know what's in it. And he's like, great, because next time we meet, we're going to be talking about it. So we scheduled a Zoom call for a later date. And fast forward to that Zoom call, we talked about Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And I was like, oh, shoot, man. Hopefully he doesn't do the whole thing with Robert Kiyosaki, the author, and not pay me. Right? Because in the story of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Rich Dad is the business owner, and he employs Robert Kiyosaki, the author, and doesn't pay Robert Kiyosaki anything, just to teach him not to sip on the sweet nectar of a salary, and to teach him how to escape the rat race, escape the matrix, and all that. So we go over that, and I just, nail everything left and right because I actually read the book, and I'm like, oh yeah, this chapter is about this chapter is about that, yeah, assets and liabilities, yeah. Anyways, the second red flag of the entire thing was when the doctor talked about e-commerce. This is a buzzword in the entire cult right now, is e-commerce. They talk about e-commerce but don't know what it actually is. Because when he asked me if I knew what e-commerce was, I was like, yes, I've dabbled in e-commerce before. I opened up a Shopify account and sold some shirts on there. And the doctor, through the Zoom call, is like, that's not e-commerce. Shopify is not e-commerce. And I was like, what the what? How is Shopify not e-commerce? Isn't Shopify the epitome of e-commerce? Like electronic commerce, you're selling shit online. That's e-commerce. And Shopify, you open up a business online to sell shit online. So that's the biggest red flag that I ignored, because I was like, you know what, this guy's a doctor. He might not know what he's talking about. But since I nailed everything in that little screening thing in that Zoom call, he liked me, and he's like, hey, I'm gonna invite you out to this networking event where you get to meet like-minded individuals. And I was like, okay, sure, yeah. And so fast forward another week, because that's when, fast forward to the next week. I go out there, and it's like an hour down from where I live, and I did not ask the right questions at all because I was going in there blind. I did not know anything outside of that this was a networking event. My gullible dumbass did not ask anything. So I let my friend know. I was like, hey, I'm gonna go to this networking event that I was invited by some stranger at the gym that I met like very briefly. And I will ping you every 30 minutes just to make sure that my organs haven't been harvested and my body discarded in the bayou. I get to that networking event and it is a Paris Hilton. I'm like, okay, great. As long as I don't go into a private hotel room, I think I'll be okay. So when I got there, I was in business attire because, you know, that's what they told us all to wear. And I met a lot of very young people there, right? Very young, very impressionable people, because these cult members, they go for people that are like teens to late 20s, okay? They go for these people. So you guys I know a lot of my subscribers are around that age. So this is definitely a word of warning to you guys. So when I got there, I met up with Jay again, and Jay introduced me to several leaders, coaches is what they call them, in that networking event. And all of them successful. And what I mean by successful is they own a business, they own a service, they own real estate, you know, all of the above. Something that's generating them cash flow. But one of them stood out amongst the rest because this guy was like a super mega business guy, and he owned 40-ish real estate investment properties. So he's probably upwards into several millions, right? Into the double million digits, tens of millions. And he's the keynote speaker. So the third red flag of this entire thing, and what really struck a chord in me was the PowerPoint slide show that they presented to us. Oh yeah, this was like it wasn't in a hotel room, it was in a ballroom. And you guys ever had like continental breakfast in an open room? That's what it was, open room with like chairs stacked against each other, and I was sitting next to this fucking really buff guy that was manspreading. He was basically doing the fucking splits, man. I did not have any room to breathe. Anyways, the slides. The biggest red flag was when they showed me the pyramid. The whole thing is a pyramid scheme. It's an MLM, right? A multi-level marketing bullshit where they talked about relational commerce and stuff like that. They were talking about e-commerce. None of it was e-commerce. None of it was what they say. And also, I don't want to reveal the name, but I'm pretty sure if you guys look it up, you'll find it right away. They're legal. That's why I don't want to say their name. They're legal. Barely legal because they've been lobbying. I've done my research. They've been lobbying the government, and they somehow stay afloat because they circumvent these laws. They bypass, find loopholes, all that bullshit. Anyways, the third red flag, that's when I was like, okay, that's that, you know, 3 strikes. This is definitely a scam. So after the whole thing, I asked them questions, and they just kept on brushing me off and talking about the pyramid, like, oh, you're gonna get money when you recruit people, stuff like that. So there's 2 ways of this actual business getting money, all right? They get money by selling you a product, and they upcharge they profit off of you by so fucking much already. Say that this energy drink is like $2 or some shit to make, right? This company will sell it to you for $6 a can. And then when you have the can, you can sell that product for however much you want to sell it for, like $7, $8, but they've already made their money. They already made their money off of you. You buy it in bulk, and then you're left with some shit ass product with shit ass ingredients, and you're left with a garbage product, right? You're left with the bag, and they expect you to sell that. But the thing is, since it's so shit, they really know that you're not going to sell that. The money comes from recruiting people. Because if you could find somebody that sells that shit ass product, you're gonna get commission for their sales. So it works like that in a pyramid. Everyone at the top is making money. And if they're not making that money there, they're gonna sell you a subscription. This $30 to $40 subscription talking about coaching you on leadership. And all of the videos there are just inspirational bullshit. Even the entire time during that networking meet, that slideshow that this charismatic 40 real estate owner guy is talking about, was just talking about how you're able to escape the rat race, escape the matrix, make all this money, retire by 30 if you just work hard enough. Just giving you all this false hope, this dopamine rush and stuff like that, without actually telling you that. But well, he like briefly goes over the pyramid, and the guy that man-spreading next to me is like taking a note and drawing the fucking pyramid. I was just bewildered of the entire thing. Like, this guy is so fucking stupid next to me. Anyways, there was a lot of people there that were very young, very impressionable, and yeah, let that be a word of warning to everyone that's like teenage to late 20s, to be careful of these MLMs. Okay, be careful of these pyramid schemes, but that aren't actually pyramid schemes because they find loopholes in the law. Yeah, you guys be careful. I'll definitely not sell you guys any of this shit ass products. Okay. Oh yeah, be sure to buy this right here. This is my merch.